Here's a question from Robert. He wants to know how to blend two videos from two channels smoothly without using stock transitions, smooth in and smooth out. So the suggestion came in from Fernick to use keyframe opacity. And I actually gave him a like on that because that is one way you can do it. But in addition to that, I had read the question slightly different, and I think what Robert was asking was how to take two videos on two tracks, what he calls channels, and then have transitions on both of them happening at the same time. So I gave two other suggestions, and that is there's a fade transition that now affects all tracks when applied to the top track only. That's a new feature. And then the other thing is, the other option is to create compound clips. And so now we have three suggestions, and all three of them will work. Let's show them how they work. Okay, so I have Robert's dilemma set up here. And that is, I have four video clips on two tracks. And I put one transition in here, simple to solve. And as we go across, we can see that tracks 1 and 2 are fading in, fading out. However, on track 2 rather, we're going to have this abrupt change. And now if we took this and we stuck it up here, we'd have a nice fade on the top, but we wouldn't have a fade on the bottom. So the one suggestion was, well, why don't you keyframe it? If you wanted to keyframe it, you would actually have to use more tracks. You would have to use 4 tracks. And we can do that by, I'm just going to take that off for a second, and I'm going to take these two, and I'm going to move them up 1 track, and I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to move it up 1, and I'm going to scooch it over just a little bit here. Then I'm going to take this one and scooch it over here so that the 4 of them line up like that, so that we have an overlay. And so the suggestion was to use keyframes, which we certainly could do like this. I've moved to the beginning of the second set of clips. I'm going to select the bottom one, and I'm going to go ahead and keyframe the opacity, which is under compositing. So compositing is active, and we click it so it's 100%. And then we click the second one up, and that one's selected, and we can go ahead and add a keyframe, but in this case we want it to be 0. And we could just continue right up here and give that one 100%, and then give this one 0%. Now what we want to do is we want to move to the end of the first set of clips, and we use the shortcut keys Shift End, and that moves to the end of the selected. We can now, well, we can go back 1 frame so that it's visible. And then what we will do here now is we will simply change the opacity to 0. That in itself adds the second keyframe. Now we have to go up on the other tracks, and we have to reverse it. In this case, we hit the reverse arrow, and we have our second keyframe. We go to our third one, and again, we reduce that to 0. We get our second keyframe, and then our fourth one, we hit the reversing key. We now have a transition of both the video clips of the outside of the car and of the driver on the inside of the car. And we accomplished the fade in, fade out. So that was the one suggestion being offered. Let's explore option number 2. I'm not sure exactly when this option became available, but I'm sure it was in 14.7. It might even have been a little bit earlier, sometime during 14.7. But I noticed that it showed up in transitions. If we go in here and we type in fade and hit the enter key, and let's see what comes up. And indeed, here is a fade. And you'll notice right below it is one fade single track. Very interesting, isn't it? And this actually means that if you apply this one, all the tracks would fade. So let's try that option, and let's apply it right up here. and let's see what happens. In this case, it's a fade option, so it turns black and then it comes back in again. And this is kind of like the same thing. But we can see that we're fading both track 1 and track 2. And just by applying this transition, this one. What's new is this fade single track, which was basically what fade was before they introduced this fade single track. If we had put this one on, it would have only been one. It would have only faded the single track. So option number 2 was to use the fade. I don't believe that there is any other transition that acts on all other tracks below it, but this is definitely one of them. And Robert was talking about a fading in and fading out. So here we go, just like that. Finally, let's just take a look at option 3. A really cool tool that Filmora has introduced, and it was sometime back in version 13, I believe this came out. I can't say for sure, but it's the compound clip. It might even have been in version 12. Anyway, you select the tracks that you want to combine, and you go right click, and then you go to create compound clip, and you can give it a name, which is useful if you're going to be doing a lot of these. So we're just going to call it clip 1. And then we're going to take clip 2 and do the same thing and create a compound clip. And it's called clip 2. The fact that we have combined them into one track means that now we can use a single transition. And we can go back to just the basic ones here. Let's get rid of this one for a minute and just use the basic dissolve again. Or we could have used the page curl or whatever. But we'll just stick this one in here. And this is a feature of Filmora. You might think that I lost the transition because it's not spanning the two. If you want to work in detail on an area, make sure you move your playhead to where you want to expand it, and then you'll get it. It should have dropped on both. And I could have also just simply selected it, and I'll show you a better way. Let's say we selected this one, and we go into transitions, and we click the plus sign. That's going to make it span. So that's the default for that. So if you're worried about dropping it in and it doesn't cover both, then this is a shortcut way of doing that. I'm getting sidetracked. But again, the fact that we have combined everything into a single track will give us the transition. As we can see, it's happening on both of them at the same time. So those were the 3 options.